I've just clicked them. So welcome everyone to this session. Okay. This is the ingredients to kickstart municipalities in transition project session. So we will be here for a little bit more than an hour. And this is the, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is a session of the Municipalities in Transition Community of Practice. And it's a session that has, it's important for different reasons. The first one is that this project that, as you will see, it has been working for the last 4 years approximately, is starting in its third phase. And we have done in the Municipalities in Transition Community of Practice different events, online events along these years. And with this one, we start like the third round of them. And we want to summarize in this session some of the key insights that we have discovered, that we have explored in all this time. We will work with which are the key ingredients that we need to start working with this methodology, with this system in municipalities. And we will have some of the people that is working with them, some of the tutors, well, you will see Luís, Cristiano, and Lara explaining you some of these key ingredients, and then we will be working in small groups, trying to identify some of them also. In this session, we will be working together, sharing experiences in breakouts. And this is a project that, as you will see, is already happening in many different places, in many different countries. This diversity is part of his richness. And let's see if we enjoy together. I think that's the most important thing. So next one, oops. Okay, so first of all, like always, it's very important to know who is here, why are we here, what brought us here, to start knowing a little bit more of ourselves. Some of you already know because you are already well involved into the Municipalities in Transition project, because you have been part of our train of trainers, or you're part of the network, and others are probably new. So I think it's always good in every session to have this check-in, how are we landing, etc. Nicola just pasted in the chat a few questions, and we would like to invite you to reply those questions. Take 1 minute individually and to try to reply them all together at the same time, like each of you, the 4 questions together. And whenever you are ready, like put in there. So the questions are, who are you? Something that describes you. Where are you right now? So what's your place? What brought you here, your main intention, etc. And if you have any preferred language. The main session is going to be in English. However, when we will make the breakout groups, we have the possibility to make breakouts by language. So that's something that we want to explore. So in case your main language is Spanish, Portuguese, whatever, and you prefer to do it in that language, put it there and we will do our best. Of course, if you are the only one with that language, we will not be able to do it, but let's see what happens, okay? So let's leave this minute or so for all of you to try to reply to those questions if you have in the chat. I see everyone concentrated. And once you have done it, I recommend you to look at the chat also, like to read the chat and to start to see, because there's a lot of diversity right now in this session. So we have people from Santa Barbara in California, people from Galicia in Spain, from Paris in France, from the UK, from Brazil. We have people from several people from Italy, from Brazil, from Spain. Okay. From the US and Florida. We are doing it in this way because if not, we will not have enough time to open the mics for everyone to speak now. It will be the whole session. But I think it's important to appreciate all this. And well, still some of you have to do it, but most of you, I think you did it already. Yeah, thank you for stopping there. We want to do a second thing for this check-in, to really see the diversity of the people in this space right now, because we could have chosen to be, you know, in many different places or doing many things, but all of us have made the effort to be here together. So and we want to make a short online survey with you. It's only 2 questions. I guess some of you know this online tool called Mentimeter, and Pavils is going to paste on the chat again. You can see it at the end now. It's going to be only 2 questions. So we would like to invite you to click that link and try to reply those questions. They're very simple. They're very, very simple. Just to see a little bit, I don't know, what we do in connection with this. Ooh. Okay. So.
Is that okay?
Yeah, is that okay? So we can see people replying. So how is your work related to municipalities in transition? And you can see how the information is moving. Very interesting.
Maybe for the person who answered other, be interesting to know their response, why they put other. I'm sure these these options are not exclusive, but.
So I was just asked to the person that wrote others or other. What was that other or that others? Just for curiosity, if you can either open your mic or put it on the chat, just for everyone, for curiosity to know what was that. So you see, we have 13 people that consider that work with system change, 7 practice Sociocracy 3.0, quite a lot. All these, by the way, all these topics are connected with the Municipalities in Transition project. That's why we're asking it. 14 collaborate already with a municipality, 14 work connected, work connecting municipalities with civil society, and 11 they are learning about the project, and 1 author. Good. Should we maybe go to the second questions, Pavel? Okay, wow. You see, this is very important. You see. I don't know, Nicola, what you see here, because I'm not speaking the whole time.
I'm seeing 7 potential mayors amongst us all. That's what I'm seeing.
That's very good. Ooh, what happened there? So there's only one person working in the municipality from these 37 people, but we have 19 that are involved in community groups. You see, huh? That's quite interesting. We were expecting something like that, but that's quite interesting. But 8 are volunteering in municipal activities. 5 do freelance work with municipalities. 7, they will become a mayor at some point, probably. Well, who knows? But they have potential for that. Yeah, I also think that Fabio should be our next president. Let's see. Okay, I think this already gives us an idea. Exactly. Let's see a little bit our faces here. So that was our proposal for this check-in, just to map quickly who we are a little bit. And I'd like to continue the session by inviting, I think it's going to be Cristiano. I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be him, or Tommy. It's going to be Tommy. Okay. Just explain me a little bit about the MIT project, because as I've said, we are in the 3rd phase of it. And I think it's important for everyone, even though some of you know very well the project already, to have an initial understanding, okay, of where we are and the main things we're doing at the moment and what brought us here. So I'm going to pass it to one of my colleagues, Tommaso Brazzini in Valencia. Over to you. And I think now Pavils is going to share the screen for you.
Thanks, Juan. Yes, basically a very quick recap on, a bit of a timeline of what we've been doing. So the municipality transition basically was born around early 2017, okay? And in the first part, we had to basically test a methodology that we've created. And in the first phase, we tested the methodology in 6 pilot communities. We're in 5 countries. Some of the people in those pilots are here today. So it's interesting that we keep working with them. And so after the first phase, we basically had to test basically the original methodology, the first methodology. And we could let's say, integrate the feedback that we got from that phase and start a second phase. So the first phase was from 2017 until 2019, approximately. And in 2019, we started phase 2. And in this case, we call the pioneer phase, because they were not pilots anymore, because the pilot phase was the first one. So the second phase was, okay, now we have updated and included the feedback of the first stage, so we can now apply it into pioneers communities. And so we basically kept working with most of the pilots in the first phase, and we added about 4 new communities, and this work is still ongoing, let's say, with the pioneers. Some dropped off, some came in, and the work is still going. The interesting part is that we realized that there was sort of a bottleneck with new pioneers coming in, because we weren't so many, but we needed people that were able to use the methodology in a sort of a professional way. So that's the reason why we started the training of tutors, international training of tutors. We started in November 2020 until April 2021. So a couple of months ago we finished. And we have a batch of new tutors, about 16 new tutors. And some of them are here, by the way. So hello, everybody. So we basically have new tutors ready to start facilitating the process of the municipality transition in new communities. The other part is that we changed the name, and it was a very interesting process, because in the end we arrived to a very not fancy name, It's just called local transformation toolkit for the system. It's not fancy, we know that, but it's also somehow, we think, more adaptable. It's trying to avoid all sort of polarization of some sort of a tag related to certain names, and we think it's more flexible. So it's more adapted to several different contexts. And the last thing is that we are working in parallel with a researcher from the University of Lisbon, Pedro Macedo. He has authored several reports. You can find all the reports in our website. There is a specific section on basically the outcomes, research outcome, and other things, or scientific papers, etc. So you are free to check all this material that might be interested of you. And I think that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy. Tommy, I'd like to ask you something. If you would need to define in 2 sentences what the Municipalities in Transition project is or does, could you do it now? Because
I can try.
You have explained these things, but for the ones that they are landing for the first time.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's say that Municipalities in Transition started as a project to foster and accelerate the transition to sustainability and resilience in local communities and municipality, fostering collaboration between local administration and civil society groups and individuals. Would that be all right? Anything else to add, maybe? I don't know, feel free.
we will dive into that, but I think something like that was needed, you know, for the ones that are...
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's very, very useful to, thank you so much, Tommy, to connect to the next part, which is we're gonna dive right now into some of these ingredients to start this experimental process in several places. And why ingredients and not, for example, steps? Because every place is different, the conditions are different, and it's like if we could be, in a way, let's use the metaphor of cooking, no? So if we would be cooking that process, and maybe in one place you don't need exactly the same ingredients, or you use them in a slightly different way. So we would like to invite 3 people. We will have Cristiano Bottone, that is one of the founders of the project and also tutor, and we will have also Luís and Lara. And all of them are in the project since the beginning, from Brazil and Portugal, and they are also tutors. And they will explain us a little bit, just a few of these ingredients that they consider they are essential to really start this type of process. Okay? And then after that, we will jump into smaller groups and to the more interactive dynamic. So these are the 5 ingredients that we will go through. So you see the recognition that things really need to change. So looking that the place where you work needs to be aware of that and really needs to push for that. We need key people available to champion and lead the process. We need pre-existing relation among the actors, and we need a tutor, and we need some funding. There are more, but this is just some key to start. So let's go to the first one. So, Cristiano, over to you.
So, welcome everyone. Nice to see you all. But first we can say that if this is not a meeting where we are going to explain the system as it is, because there are online resources for that. Only the explanation takes 1 hour, more or less. So there are videos that you can go and see, because this is something quite complex. But basically, the starting point was the understanding, and this is a very beginning of the transition movement, basically, that we are trying different ways to face some of the huge problems that humanity produced during the the last phase of our developments, but we are not succeeding at all. So here you can see that we had Agenda 21, we had the Kyoto Protocol, the Covenant of Mayors, 6 reports from IPCC. The next one is going to be out the beginning of the next year, but we already know the content more or less. And so we had a lot of different experiment on how to change our situation, on how to steer the system into a different direction. But what we get in the end is that it's not working. So our approach was to basically to see what transition was doing, and to see that we were succeeding in small experiment, even not so small experiment, and to try to systematize everything that was working, to see if we could get something different in the end, scale up, scale deeper, and change the situation. And the more we get into the trouble that are emerging now at a very general level, it's mainstream basically, the more we meet people in the administration, in the organization of different type that we can meet in our communities, that really feel the need of something different, on a different way to do. So if you meet in your community or in any community this kind of need, which is very often very deep, so there's a lot of people doing stuff and understanding that not much is happening, that's a very good ingredient. That's a very good starting point for what we do, because we can provide to them a complete system to give to this kind of need a future, a power to interact with the situation, a way to face problems and find solution in a different way, a way which is not connected with the ways that we were going to, that we are being practicing until now, and that now we know they are not effective. And this is extremely frustrating, particularly for the activists, particularly for the good politician, particularly for the good policymakers that very often would like to write very good laws, very effective laws, and they don't know what to do. So this is the first ingredient that if you can recognize that in your community, that would be a very good starting point to think about using the LTT or MIT methodology.
Thank you, Cristiano. Luís, over to you.
Thank you so much, Juan. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Can you hear me well? Can you just signal me? Yeah, great. So I'm here to share with you a little bit about the second ingredient. As Juan said, they're not in any specific order, but this second ingredient is that it's usually very helpful and very good to have key people in our communities who are available to champion the process, both in the municipalities and in the community. I imagine after hearing this sentence, probably many of us already imagine people that they know in their communities who are doing something to transform their communities for better. But I'd just like to share with you some characteristics that these people usually have. There are many more, but I'd just like to focus on some of them. We'll also have some space, as one said, we'll also be talking in smaller groups, and it will also be great to hear your experiences on that and to identify other characteristics that that usually these people who are like these motors to transform their communities have. But so just to share with you some ideas. First of all, many of these people embody what Cristiano just said. So there are people who are very well aware that there's this need for change, that they feel this urge to act, to do something to change the world through our communities. So this is like the first motivation these people usually have. And they do it in a very passionate way. It's not just very technical, but these people, like local champions, they are usually very passionate. They put their hearts in what they do. They are very open to ideas and experimenting. So they're usually people who are not just very rigid, but open to not only to different methodologies, to different approaches, to working with different people, to see the world in a different way. So this is also usually present for people who are trying to change their communities. In terms of how they are integrated in the community, usually they have many connections, many relationships. They know people in different places in the community, and so they can also act as mediators or facilitators for the community process. And one thing that is very important for this system is diversity. When we are implementing the municipalities in transition system or the local transformation toolkit, it's very important to have diversity in the groups that we work with. And so it's not just, oh, these people all think green and let's work with them, but no, we need people from many different sides of the municipality. We need people in the political opposition. We need people from big businesses and small businesses. We need people who are against these changes, and we need to engage them and to talk with them. So these people usually serve as bridges between all these different members of the communities. And one last characteristic I'd like to share is that usually they are doers. So they're not just stuck in theoretical frameworks, but they feel this need to act, and they want to act, to do projects, to do stuff. And so these are just some key ideas that I would like to share. The second thing is that it's very important for this process, this municipalities in transition process. It's very, very good to have this sort of people, both coming from civil society and from the municipality, like the local administration part. So, because if you have them both, first of all, you can like sort of balance the inputs from, I mean, I don't like to speak on these two sides, but I mean, they exist, the civil society and the local administration. We are all together, but we have different roles, but it's good to have them on both. They can also offer mutual support. This is a process that is not, we are not always smiling. We are, there are frustrating times, there are challenges, but so it's good to have this mutual support. So they are sort of allies in the good sense. They can help each other out. And they do a big work in building trust between all the different actors in the community. They do this mediation, they can do it together. So what I was mentioning before, that about facilitation, building bridges, if we do it together from the local administration side and the local civil society side, this is very important. But so as I said, we'll have some more time to discuss this in smaller groups. It will be great to hear also from your experiences. So now I pass it to Lara.
Thank you, Luís.
Hello, everyone. And the another ingredient that we can discuss is a very important point. It's the pre-exist groups in the community, and understanding these ingredients contribute to really understand that support this process. We need this kind of groups, the people who is open to working together, but when have some journey working together, we can think the process, how initiate, how start or design this process in different way. When we have a group, for example, in Brazil, we start with Ecobairro group, and at the same time with the council, we had the maturity to working together in another way. The group has had a learning about how working together with the municipality, with the dialogues and do things together. And when we have this kind of people already working together, we have more maturity to design this process. And when we working, looking for a municipality, identify the movements, the groups of collectives, and the councils, and the space of representative in different thematics can help a lot. In our reality, make so different because bring success in our process here. And we have a continuity in this process, have a permanent process because we have this kind of group in Brazil and in Vila Mariana also. I think this is the very important condition to work together and have the support to keep this dialogue working. And when the municipality change, we have this kind of group to support and jump this challenge that we have in the government. I think this is the very good point to think when we will start a process with municipality. I think this is the main point, but we can dialogue more in the groups, small groups. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lara. It was very good. And I would like to ask Cristiano to come back and for these last two ingredients to try to be a bit more concise. Okay, Cristiano?
Okay, so
you have 3 minutes for
the fourth ingredient is this appreciating the presence of a tutor, which is quite normal because when the community see the system, they want to have somebody helping them because the system is quite complex. But also there is another role of the tutor, which is help them to connect to reality, because we really live in a world where it's very, very difficult to get right information and to avoid to follow very strange narratives about our reality work. There is a big problem of ideologies, identity barriers, and that creates polarization and a lot of problem when we need to take a decision. Understands the limit of our brains as a species, because our brains, it's a strange machine, and that's very important and is quite embedded in the way the system works. And in the end, all the community should learn a new way of making decisions, a new way to play the same game. And that's difficult when we are grown-up people. So it really helps to have somebody taking us there. We can go to the next. Yeah, and then there is this big problem about funding and money and how we do this and how we do that. So first of all, we should try to avoid, this is also a little bit an ideology. There's a lot of pressure on volunteering on stuff, but the size of the problem that we have to face really needs a full-time effort. So we try to be careful on that. I mean, yes, we need support and we need money to carry on this kind of activities. And of course, the system doesn't provide the money that you need and the resource that you need to change the system itself. So basically, we need to cheat, and this is something you discover very quickly. If we look around, in many places of the world, there is a lot of money available, but normally are under the wrong tag, the wrong label. So we have to learn how to get that kind of resources to do what we really want to do, not to follow the instruction that they are giving us to spend those money. This is a tricky business, but at the moment now it's the best way to go. Of course, it was quite well in the developed country, and it might be much more difficult in other places in the world, and we recognize that. In the end, some of the things that we try to put together is to convince the community that they have to find the resources in the local balance, because otherwise this is not going to happen. So what we see in some of the more advanced pioneers is this happening. So the budget are moving from, I get the money somewhere one day, from there to, no, I have to have a chapter in my balance to make this thing stable, fixed there. I don't want to depend on something coming one day if it comes. And that's another very important ingredient.
So welcome back after this time in small groups. How it was? Can you just make like this with your thumb? If like this, if it was good, if it was, just have an idea, like awesome, great. So we have 15 minutes till the end of the session. And we have had 6 groups, isn't it, Pavils, if I remember well?
Yes.
So this means that we don't have much time to do like a long sharing, but we would like to invite, instead of maybe going through all the groups, like to have now, like, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes, 8-10 minutes to open the space for whoever wants to share from the different groups something, you know, some of the ingredients that you have discussed, some of the things apart from the ones that we presented initially. It would be nice if you can share some of those ingredients to the others. Everything is harvested in the document and everything has access to that. So of course we can read it and we can have this information, but let's hear some voices. Okay, let's hear some voices. So just yeah, whoever wants to start. Nicola.
I enjoyed our group 6, but there were just a couple of things maybe to share. There was a really interesting question about what happens if some of your ingredients aren't top quality, or even if you're missing one, or maybe even 2. You know, it's going to be a very flat cake, but maybe it's worth trying. You know, we felt really interested to hear from places that had tried to go ahead, but maybe with 4 of the 5 ingredients, or you know what happens. But then when we were looking at what other ingredients, there was a really important point. Anna from Mexico might want to say it herself, but in Latin America, you know, we need the ingredient of environmental activism actually being safe to do, because in a very lot of places in those countries, it's not safe. You're at risk of being disappeared or killed, and you have to keep your identity really secure. And what can the world do about this? You know, is there some pressure we can bring, or some visibility we can bring? Because that's an ingredient that will be really key, because it's, yeah, that's massive and shocking. So that's from me. Oh, also in Italy.
Thank you so much, Nico. The arena is open, so whoever wants to continue. Some of the voices from other groups.
On my side, on the room 5, I can continue. So we started from room 6. So yes, on our groups, we insist on the first point that from Kitty was interesting, is that she was underlying the problem we face with municipality, is that they don't understand the word we are using. So I think it's a first ingredient. It's difficult to have them coming because they are so far from sometimes that it's very difficult. And basic people doesn't know really how to start sometimes, so it's difficult to know. And also the presentation of the requirements, we had some troubles to understand if it was the expression of what is municipalities or just the ingredient. And in this case, we would say more about prerequisites. We would call this more prerequisites. It's nice, not a so nice word, but it's very clear that more understandable for us. And one of us insisted on the importance to have good communication skills to discuss with the people, the mayor and so forth. And finally, the last point was that sometimes the politics position, the people who want to do this, who have strong politic position, may have troubles because the municipalities they see in black and white, the people with them or against them. So it's already it creates some difficulties to have a strong political position. That's all we have said in group room 5.
Thank you so much, Jean-Paul. Who would like to continue? Go, Lara, to the Portuguese group. Go ahead.
Yes, we had a very good conversation, and some aspects emerge about the first question. We felt that we already all ingredients was present in our process in Brazil, and one question that emerged, it's 1 minute here. Let's see where are they here. But we have more aspects that brought us success during the experience, and one of them was the more tools to working in groups, to enable the group working better, not only sociocracy or nonviolent communication, but also the group understand the facilitation also, and this was important. Isabella bring the look to an ingredient for more inner conditions, for more maturity, emotional maturity of the group, to lead with adversity and diversity at the same time. Because when we are looking for civil society and municipality, it's a very different mechanism to working the process, and it's a very fertile soil of adversities, and keep the group with this maturity, emotional maturity is an important thing. And one more thing, it's Nina brought us when you don't have space, we trying to keep and be present and occupy this space to keep the flame. And sometimes we don't have space to continue the process with the municipality, and to be present, and this is a thing to put in perspective also. I think this is the main point that
Thank you, Lara. Thank you so much, Lara and the Portuguese group. We don't have much time, but I think it's still, we can maybe have a last voice. I don't know, someone that would like to share something else, because we want to try to end on time. So,
well, very fast. Thank you, Juan.
Can you hear him well? Because it's quite low.
Everybody can hear me from the Highland. Not so well.
It's a bit
very nice in my group. Thank you.
Could someone from his group try to support him? Because
Tomás, go ahead.
Me? Oh my God, you make me do the work. Okay. Okay, no, just to say very quickly, not to repeat things that have been already said. I think there are a couple of things that were interesting about the education level, education of the younger, decision-making, nonviolent communication. But I think one thing that haven't been said is probably important. Somebody mentioned the Latin American situation. The indigenous inclusion, we have the inclusion part, of course, the inclusivity that and the ingredients, but there is, I think, special aspect about the indigenous inclusion, that they have their own governance as an authority of the territory, and need a dialogue with conventional institutions, something like that. That's it. Yeah, I think it was a. If you want to add anything, Cuckoo, Malena, or Maurizio, if you can, please feel free to jump in.
Okay, so thank you, Cuckoo, Malena, Tommaso, and Maurizio. That we couldn't hear you very well, but it was clear that the group worked very well. That message was very clear. So I'm sorry, but that's my role today. And we need to start to wrap up and close. All the information, and I see a hand there for Cristiano. Cristiano, do you want to say something quick, or is it fine? Okay. All the information, the summary of the information of the groups and the presentations are in that shared presentation. Of course, if there's something that you come to your mind and you want to add, you're always free to go back, because that information is going to be very useful then for the project, for the team, for the tutors. We have been sharing about our experiences and ingredients that we think may be useful to kickstart municipalities. So this is not just to share because we want to share that, is because we are harvesting information for this collective intelligence that we have here from so many different places. No? So let's try to make the best use of that. And we have 3 minutes to the end. And also, I'm gonna start to share a little bit about the next steps. But please, to the different co-guardians of the committee of practice, if I miss something, there's Nicola or also Luís or Lara, just complement whatever he said. Okay. So we have the next session open, international online session for the committee of practice on the 23rd of September. The title and the topic we have is not yet defined. I mean, we are working on that, but at least we want to show with you the date. So if you are interested, please put in your agendas for the 23rd of September. That event will be part of a European day, which is the European Day of Sustainable Communities. There is going to be many events around Europe. And we will let you know as soon as possible, okay, regarding the content and the topic and everything, but everyone is invited, and it will be awesome to have you here with all of us. Then, what else? How to get involved? Well, we have our Facebook group for the project that everyone is invited. If you are not there, everyone is invited to join, and it's a place to interact. You can also, in our website, you can, if you want to receive the project newsletter, you can subscribe there. Maybe Pavils can put the link on the chat too now. And what else? I think that's like and of course you can look all the information, and Cristiano mentioned, for example, that we have a lot of information about the Municipalities in Transition System, or the Local Transformation Toolkit, the new name, and how it works, and also different online sessions recorded there. So everything is on the website, different research articles. So if you want to know more about that, and also the previous webinars that we have done, everything is there. So please just dive into that. And I think that's kind of a summary. And if you want to write to us because you're interested in anything, want to let us know. I mean, many of the people that is already in this session is involved in one way or another. So it's like the community and the family is growing. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I think this is more or less a word from Fabio. We see your hand over there.
Thank you, Juan. Just a very quick question. I have 29th, I think, of July in my diary as a deep dive session for MIT. Is that still on, or should I take that out?
That's own, but that's only for the tutors. This session was just to clarify what Fabio said. During the whole last part of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, we hosted an amazing experimental train of trainers with people from 3 different continents, and all these people is continuing the process. All these new tutors, so they are having these sessions, but that session is only for the tutors. So like the wider open to everyone session, the next one will be the 23rd of September. Okay, so let's go to the closing. If there's nothing urgent, I don't know, I would like to ask my team if there's something else to add. Nicola, Cristiano, Pavils, Tommy. Well, just maybe a last thing is that Sara Silva and Ana Huertas, they weren't here with us. They're very important parts of our team. So thank you to their work too. We miss them. We have missed them today. And apart from that, let's go to the closing. So I would say we can share on the chat one word, maybe something that we are taking for this session. And then when we have done it, we can open our mics and in our language, we can say bye to everyone. And I would like to invite you to read the words, you know, from the others there. It's nice. Like to...
Thank you so much. What amazing people are here.
Transformation, connection, gratitude, love, revolution, trust, many different things. So thank you to everyone. Thank you, Pavils. Great work.
Thank you. Very good.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. See
Thank
you.
you all.
Grazie. Ta-ta.
Obrigada. Até mais.
Grazie belli.
Ciao.
Wow.
Bacioni.
Ciao, Paul.
Gracias. Buen día.
Cuando nos vemos en persona.
Cristiano.